The vast structure known as the Galactic Council Station floated quietly in deep space far above any planet's sky. From a distance, it looked like a metal flower blooming in the darkness, with long petals of steel and glass spreading in every direction. Thousands of lights blinked like stars trapped inside its walls, showing life, movement, and important work. For hundreds of years, alien species came here to discuss peace, trade, and new rules for the galaxy. But this year's meeting was different. For the first time in history, humanity was invited. Many alien races whispered about this moment. Some feared humans, some laughed at them, and some waited to see what humans would do. Humans were new to the galactic stage. They grew fast, learned fast, and expanded faster than many expected. Rumors said their ships were simple yet clever, their soldiers brave, and their scientists creative. However, rumors also said humans made many mistakes in their early years. Nobody knew what to believe. The council hall was a huge circular chamber, wide enough for several starships to land inside. Seats formed rings around a central platform, where speakers would stand and show their ideas. Bright screens floated in the air, translating languages in real time. Alien diplomats filled the seats, some smooth-skinned, some covered in fur, and others with shining scales. Mechanical drones buzzed above like tidy insects, recording everything. The room buzzed with excitement. The invitation was clear. Humanity would speak for the first time in open council. And then, finally, the human shuttle arrived. It was a small craft, silver with a soft blue glow. It did not roar loudly or shine brightly. Instead, it moved quietly, almost peacefully. When it landed inside a docking bay, many aliens leaned forward, curious to see what kind of person would step out. The doors opened with a gentle hiss. A single human walked out, Ambassador Elian Ward. He wore a clean suit with the symbol of Earth on the shoulder, a blue circle with a single white star. His straight posture showed confidence, but his calm expression showed peace. He looked around slowly, not with fear, but with careful respect. 2 human guards followed him, not holding weapons in their hands, only carrying small translator devices on their belts. "This cannot be their only representative," one alien whispered with surprise. "They sent only one speaker?" Another asked with disbelief. "They must be foolish," a third alien muttered. But Elian heard none of these whispers. He simply bowed lightly toward the council members and walked forward to his assigned seat. He moved with gentle steps like someone walking through a museum rather than a battlefield. Council leader Vora Kell, a tall alien with a long neck and purple skin, welcomed him with a polite smile. "Ambassador Elian Ward of Earth," she said. "We are honored by your arrival. Please take your place and we shall begin." Elian bowed again. "Thank you for the invitation. Humanity is honored to learn and to share." His voice was calm, steady, and respectful. Many aliens expected humans to speak loudly and boast, but Elian's soft voice created silence. Everyone listened. As he sat down, he felt the eyes of hundreds of alien diplomats on him. Some eyes were round, some were thin, and some glowed like lanterns, but all of them watched him carefully. Elian remained composed. He had trained all his life for moments like this. What nobody in the chamber knew was that far above the station, hidden behind moons and drifting shadows, several human ships silently watched. They were large, invisible to most scanners, and they powered down their weapons to show peace. These ships did not wait to attack, they waited to protect. Humanity believed in diplomacy, but they also believed in preparation. Elian touched a small device in his ear. A quiet voice spoke only to him. "All ships in position. No detection." "Good luck, Ambassador," Elian answered in a whisper. "We will need no force today. But thank you." The first session began. Alien species took turns explaining their concerns. Trade routes, security zones, mining rights, and navigation laws were all discussed. Screens floated above, showing maps of star systems and busy traffic lanes between planets. When humanity's turn arrived, Elian walked to the central platform. He stood tall and pressed a button on his personal tablet. A soft holographic map appeared, a simple picture of space lanes used by human ships. "We request fair passage through these regions," Elian said. "We do not wish to block others, and we do not demand control. We only ask to travel safely and trade honestly." Some aliens nodded in approval, but others frowned. A reptile-like ambassador from the Trisk Dominion raised a claw. "Humans are new. They must pay higher taxes for access." They have not proven loyalty. Another alien with many small eyes said, "Humans grow too fast. They may become a danger." More voices joined, accusations, worries, demands. But Elian did not argue. He listened quietly. When they finished, he spoke calmly. "We understand your worries, but fair trade benefits everyone. High taxes push us apart. Shared trade brings us together." His words were simple, but they carried weight. He spoke like someone offering peace, not fear. The council members whispered again. Elian returned to his seat. During the break, he walked to a balcony overlooking space. Through the transparent window, he saw stars shining like distant diamonds. He breathed slowly, thinking deeply. A young alien assistant approached him shyly. Her skin glowed with a soft light and two thin antennae waved gently on her forehead. "Ambassador Ward?" she asked. "Is it true humans once fought many wars?" Elian nodded. "Yes, we made mistakes. But we learned to value peace because we know how dangerous conflict can be." The assistant looked impressed. "Some leaders think humans are loud and wild." Elian smiled kindly. "Sometimes we are. But we try to grow." Before she could reply, a group of alien diplomats walked past them, talking loudly. "If humans refuse our rules, we pressure their colonies," one said. "We demand higher mining taxes," another replied. "And block their routes," the third added. Elian heard every word. He did not interrupt. He only folded his hands and watched them walk away. He returned to the meeting hall. More arguments began. Some aliens wanted to help humans. Others wanted to limit them. Hours passed. The bright lights dimmed softly, showing evening inside the artificial day cycle of the station. Elian's face remained calm, but he felt tension growing. Then Council Leader Vorakel raised her long hand. "We will continue tomorrow. Let all members rest." The meeting closed. Diplomats left in small groups, talking quietly. Some glanced at Elian with respect, others with suspicion. When Elian reached his assigned room, he sat at a table reviewing notes. He tapped his ear device again. "All ships report." A quiet reply came. "Silent, hidden, and ready. No alien scanners detected us." "Good," Elian said. "We hope we never need you." He ended the call and leaned back in his chair. He looked at a small photo taped inside his tablet. Earth's blue oceans and green lands. It reminded him of why he was here: peace, progress, and hope. In another room of the station, alien leaders gathered secretly. "Humans must not get equal treatment," one said. "They must accept our terms," another agreed. They planned to present unfair laws the next day, laws that would push humans into a corner. None of them thought to check the skies. None of them imagined human fleets waited quietly like shadows in the dark. And so the day ended. The station lights dimmed further, showing artificial night. Alien diplomats slept in their rooms, dreaming of future deals, power, and new advantages. But Elian did not sleep immediately. He sat by the window and watched distant stars. He whispered to himself, "Tomorrow will be harder, but we must stay calm. Peace first. Strength if needed." The stars twinkled back at him, silent witnesses to history. Far above, hidden in darkness, human ships drifted patiently, like guardians waiting for a signal that hopefully would never come. And somewhere, deep inside the station, whispered plans continued. Plans meant to pressure humanity. Plans meant to corner them, but a lesson would soon be learned. When someone invites humans to negotiate, they should always check the skies. Artificial morning light slowly brightened inside the Galactic Council station, shifting from soft purple to warm gold. It signaled the start of a new meeting day. Drones floated gently through corridors, cleaning and scanning. Doors opened as diplomats stepped out, their robes flowing, badges shining, and translator devices blinking softly. Ambassador Elian Ward left his room and walked down a quiet hallway. His steps were calm. He had slept only a few hours, but his mind felt clear. He carried his small tablet and a peaceful expression, though he knew today would be difficult. When he reached the council hall, many alien representatives were already seated. Their eyes followed him. Some nodded politely. Some avoided his gaze. Others stared with cold curiosity. They all knew tension had grown. Leader Vorakel raised her long purple hand. "Let the second session begin." A soft humming sound filled the hall as the circular platform lit up. Elian stepped forward when his name was called. Before he could speak, an ambassador from the Trisk Dominion stood tall on the opposite side. His scaled skin shimmered dark green and his voice echoed sharply. Humans request fair travel, the Trisk said, but they must accept extra taxes. They are new, and new species must show loyalty first. Another ambassador from the Falari Union added, yes, and human colonies should share mining profits with older species. They use resources near our borders, several voices joined. More demands. More pressure. A gentle screen appeared, showing a new set of rules written by these members overnight. The rules would limit human ships, force high payments, and allow random inspections. It was unfair, unbalanced, and clearly targeted. Many aliens watched quietly. Some looked uncomfortable, but few spoke against it. Elian listened without interrupting. When the voices faded, he lifted his tablet and spoke calmly. Humanity respects rules, he began, but we cannot accept heavy taxes that other young species do not pay. We cannot accept inspections based on fear. Fair trade means equal treatment. His words were slow and clear. The Trisk ambassador hissed an annoyed, sharp sound. You refuse? That is unwise. The council expects agreement. Elian shook his head politely. We refuse unfair pressure. Cooperation must help everyone. Murmurs spread through the hall like ripples. A tall, insect-like representative clicked its mandibles. Humans grow too fast. Your ships come more each year. We must slow your expansion. Elian paused, thinking carefully. He chose peaceful words. Growth is not a threat if shared wisely. Humanity offers research, technology, and new trade partners. We want to help. But the pressure did not stop. The Falari ambassador leaned forward. If humans do not agree, we may vote to restrict them from certain systems. This was not simple negotiation anymore. It was cornering. Elian took a small breath. I ask for 1 hour to review proposals and speak with my council, he said calmly. Some aliens exchanged looks. 1 hour? The Trisk ambassador demanded. For what? To think, Elian said simply. Several laughed quietly, assuming weakness. Leader Vorakel nodded. 1 hour granted. Elian bowed gently, then walked to a quiet corner balcony. As soon as he stepped onto the glass platform overlooking space, he spoke softly into his ear device. This is Ambassador Ward. Begin soft demonstration. High above the station, hidden human ships received the message. In silent, coordinated motion, several cloaked vessels drifted forward, just enough to be seen on long-range windows. They powered subtle magnetic engines that let them appear like dim, moving shadows. It was not hostile, not sharp, not bright, only presence. Through the windows of the council hall, aliens began to notice faint outlines outside, large shapes gliding quietly in the dark. Gentle gas trails shimmered behind them like flowing ribbons. Whispers erupted instantly. Are those human ships? Impossible. Our scanners did not detect them. How long have they been there? Scarlet warning lights blinked softly. Not alarms, but detection signals. Security drones buzzed nervously. Elian returned to the center platform at the end of his hour. He stood tall, hands behind his back. I believe we can continue, he said. Many alien faces stared at him differently now, not mocking, but careful. The Trisk ambassador squinted at the window, his voice suddenly slower. Ambassador Ward, your ships arrived quickly. Elian shook his head politely. They did not arrive. They have been waiting silently, listening to my reports, not to threaten, only to ensure safety. He lifted his tablet again, showing a calm message from Earth Council. We support peaceful negotiation. I repeat, Elian continued. We want cooperation, not fear. The insect-like representative shifted nervously. Why hide ships? Elian answered simply. Because sometimes peace needs quiet guardians. We hope to never show them. Silence filled the hall. Many diplomats realized how easily they could have misjudged humanity's strength. Leader Vorakel raised her voice. Let us continue discussion without unfair pressure. The new proposals returned. This time some aliens softened their demands. Others spoke in kinder tones. Even those who remained firm no longer made threats. Elian pointed to areas of the holographic map. If we share these lanes, everyone gains faster trade. If we lower mining taxes slightly, young colonies can grow. Growth helps the entire council. A few ambassadors nodded thoughtfully, but some refused to yield. The Falari diplomat crossed his arms. Humans must accept at least one inspection restriction. Elian stayed calm. We agree to inspection, but only once a year, and with shared officers from multiple species. Trust must be equal. This surprised the hall. It was fair, balanced, and respectful. Slowly, pressure turned into discussion. Voices cooled. Arguments shifted into agreements. Still, deep under his calm face, Elian knew something. Some members did not accept humans, not because of trade, but because of fear. Fear of change. Fear of new ideas. Fear of a species that grew fast and learned faster. Hours passed. The council reached a temporary understanding. Trade routes open, taxes fair, inspections limited. A final vote would take place next session. As the meeting ended, representatives gathered in small groups. This time, when Elian walked by, most nodded politely. A few even smiled, but in a shadowed corner, 3 ambassadors whispered again. "We must limit them further," one said quietly. "Tomorrow we introduce a clause to restrict expansion speed." "They grow like stars," another replied. "They will pass us all." "We should have acted sooner," the third muttered. They did not notice a tiny human drone hovering silently near the ceiling, recording every word. Elian later received the recording. He watched it, expression unchanged. Then he whispered to his ear device, "All ships hold position. Do not approach." "We will solve this with words," his fleet commander replied softly. "Understood, but we stand ready." Elian walked slowly down a quiet corridor, hands folded behind him. The walls glowed soft blue, echoing his calm heartbeat. He passed windows showing deep space, stars as far as memory could stretch. He thought of humanity's past, times of conflict, mistakes, and rapid growth. He thought of his own childhood, studying diplomacy, dreaming of peaceful worlds. "That is why we came," he whispered, "not to conquer, to connect." On the balcony, the young alien assistant from yesterday appeared again. Her antennae glowed faintly, showing nervousness. "You scared them today," she said softly. Elian smiled gently. "I only showed that we are not alone." She gazed at the dark shapes outside, silent guardians floating like giants. "They should have checked the skies," she whispered. Elian nodded. Sometimes leaders act differently when they think someone is alone. The assistant hesitated. "Will things end peacefully?" Elian looked thoughtful. "Peace always begins with patience, but patience must be strong." As artificial night lights dimmed again, he returned to his room. He sat at his table, reviewing new laws the secret group would introduce tomorrow. He took a deep breath. This will be harder than today. Outside, human ships drifted quietly like watchful stars. They did not show bright weapons. They did not charge power. They only existed, calm, silent, and patient. Inside his room, Elian wrote new proposals. Fair, balanced, positive ideas. Words not forced, but across the station. In another dark room, the secret group planned new limits, trying to push humans back again. 2 plans formed at once. One of peace, one of pressure. Tomorrow, those plans would collide, and every alien would remember something important. Humanity might speak softly, but the stars behind them speak too. The third artificial morning arrived slowly, with bronze light washing across the curved walls of the Galactic Council station. Small service drones floated through the halls, cleaning sensors and repairing lights. Doors opened softly, and diplomats stepped out one by one, dressed in fresh robes, wearing polite expressions that hid deeper thoughts. Ambassador Elian Ward stood at the large balcony again, watching the distant shapes of human ships drifting silently above. Their presence was still calm. No bright colors, no weapons powered up, only a quiet message. We watch and we protect. In his ear device, a soft voice spoke. "Good morning, Ambassador." All ships remained silent and hidden. No unusual movement inside the station. Elian nodded. "Good. Today we must show more patience." He turned and headed toward the council hall. Inside, the room buzzed with new whispers. Some aliens looked respectful. Others looked frustrated or fearful. A few avoided Elian's eyes entirely. Clearly, yesterday's demonstration had echoed through every conversation. Leader Vorakel raised her long hand, signaling calm. The blue lights above brightened gently. "We begin Session 3, she announced. "Today we discuss trade growth and expansion speed." Elian's eyes sharpened slightly. He knew this would be difficult. After a brief introduction, an ambassador from the Kelran domain stepped forward. His skin was pale and smooth, dotted with tiny flickering lights that pulsed when he spoke. "We propose a new clause," he said. Human settlements must not expand faster than Council-approved rates. Too much growth can cause instability. The holographic screen displayed the text of the new law. It would slow human colony development, limit new starbases, and allow random reviews of settlement permissions. Many aliens watched closely, some nodding in approval. Elian stepped forward in silence. He studied the glowing text, reading each line. His face remained calm, but his thoughts moved rapidly. He addressed the room. Humanity grows quickly, yes, he began. But our growth does not remove resources from others. We settle empty worlds, we trade peacefully, and we share our discoveries. The Kelran ambassador blinked. Fast growth can still cause fear. Other species feel pressure when humans leap forward. Elian nodded gently. Fear is understandable, but fear is not a reason to limit peaceful progress. A tall avian diplomat flapped his wings softly. What if humans surpass us all? Elian replied with soft honesty. If humanity surpasses others, we hope to use progress to guide and support, not to take power. But fear was difficult to calm. Another ambassador spoke. We cannot take risks. The clause must be accepted. Elian scanned the room. Many eyes were uncertain, torn between fear and fairness. So he changed strategy. He tapped his tablet, projecting a hologram of Earth's early days. Old cities. Broken places. Rebuilt better? Look here, he said. Humanity once grew too fast. We made mistakes. We learned slowly to build with respect. That lesson guides us today. He swiped to another hologram. Human workers building habitats alongside alien engineers, smiling, helping. We already share progress. We already cooperate. Some alien heads nodded slowly, but the Kelran ambassador was not finished. Then accept controlled growth, or we vote to restrict travel to new systems. His tone was sharp, but his eyes held doubt. He had expected humans to be loud and stubborn. Instead, Elian gave calm answers that were difficult to oppose. Elian placed his tablet down gently. He looked around the room. If you fear our growth, then grow with us. Join our research. Build ships beside ours. Learn together. Progress should be shared, not blocked. The words hung like music in the air. Many diplomats whispered softly. Some smiled. Leader Vorakel tilted her head thoughtfully. Ambassador Ward offers cooperation. Perhaps a shared development agreement? This idea caught interest. A shared development clause meant humans and other species would explore and build together. It invited unity instead of limits. The Kelran ambassador hesitated. He had not expected a peaceful solution that protected both sides. Several younger diplomats spoke up. Cooperation brings more. Trade. Shared development means no one grows alone. This could stop fear before it becomes conflict. Slowly, agreement spread. But the whispering group from yesterday looked displeased. One of them stood suddenly. We cannot join hands blindly. Humans are strong and unpredictable. Elian faced him calmly. Strength is not danger. Lack of communication is danger. The alien paused. His planned arguments didn't fit well anymore. Elian continued. Give us a chance to prove we are partners, not problems. Leader Vorakel raised her hand. We vote. Option 1, restrict human growth. Option 2, shared development. Lights flashed above each seat as diplomats recorded their choices. The results appeared. Shared development. 61% growth restriction, 39% A. Gentle wave of relief went through the hall. Elian bowed gratefully. Thank you, he said, but the secret group exchanged narrow glances. Their plan had failed again. The meeting continued with discussions of mining rights. This time more aliens supported fair deals for humans. A surprising shift was occurring. Respect was rising. However, near the end of the discussion, something unusual happened. One of the secret group's members touched his wrist device. He pretended to drink water but whispered into the cup. Elian's ear device clicked softly. His fleet commander spoke. Ambassador, internal scanners detect coded messages being sent to an unknown location outside the council. Someone is passing information. Elian kept his face calm. Observe only, he whispered. Do not act. He returned attention to the council floor. When the meeting ended, diplomats stretched, talked quietly, and made plans for evening meals. As Elian left, he noticed a small drone waiting near the hall's exit. It belonged to the station's security department. The drone flashed polite lights. Ambassador Ward, It said softly. Commander Mira of Council Security requests a private meeting. Elian agreed. The drone guided him to a side chamber. Inside stood Commander Mira, a tall alien with armor-like scales and bright yellow eyes. Her uniform was simple but carried authority. Ambassador, she greeted. We have received complaints from some members. They claim your ships are threatening. Elian nodded. I understand their worry, but my ships have not powered any weapons. They remain passive, only watching. Commander Mira sighed. I believe you. But political fear grows fast, Elian replied gently. Humans did not display force. We displayed presence. There is a difference, Mira studied his expression. You are calm. Most species would show anger under such pressure. Elian smiled faintly. Calm gives better results. The commander looked thoughtful. I will remind council members that your ships are monitored and peaceful. But I advise you, fearful leaders can make strange decisions. I know, Elian said softly. He returned to his room. The artificial night lights dimmed again. The hallway's glow reflected in his calm eyes. He reviewed new reports from Earth. Scientists offered medical tech improvements. Traders offered safe transport designs. Everything humanity did was meant to share, not take. His ear device buzzed again. Ambassador, the fleet commander said. The secret group is calling an emergency private meeting. They are planning something for tomorrow. Elian did not flinch. Record them. We will listen. He stood at his window watching human ships fade behind drifting moon shadows. A quiet voice echoed in his mind. Peace is not weakness. Peace supported by readiness becomes strength. The next day would be decisive. Some would push harder. Some would accept cooperation, and some would learn that humanity's calm voice carried weight not from fear, but from steady purpose. As night settled across the station, the galaxy outside looked endless, sparkling like a promise. Tomorrow, the Council would test humanity again, and tomorrow humanity would answer with patience, strength, and quiet skies watching above. The next day, artificial lights in the Galactic Council station glowed a soft silver. The great circular hall was already filled with hundreds of diplomats. Whispers rippled across the room. Yesterday's discussions had left a mark. Some diplomats now viewed humans with curiosity, some with cautious respect, and a few still with thinly veiled fear. Ambassador Elian Ward stepped quietly into the chamber, his calm expression unchanged. The soft hum of floating drones and the occasional flutter of wings from avian delegates created a quiet rhythm. Elian moved confidently toward his assigned seat. As he passed, several delegates nodded politely, their eyes showing a mixture of admiration and caution. Leader Vorakel raised her hand, signaling the start of the fourth session. Today, she said, we discuss final agreements regarding trade, expansion, and cooperative development. Let all members speak openly, yet respectfully. Elian waited until the first speakers finished. He noticed tension in the room. Several older species had drafted secret clauses designed to restrict humans. Limits on star system access, increased inspections, and additional fees for trade routes. These hidden clauses were meant to corner humanity. A tall, dark-scaled ambassador from the Trisk Dominion stepped forward, his voice sharp. Humans are growing too fast. They demand more than their fair share of trade lanes. We propose final restrictions to control their expansion and influence. He tapped a holographic screen, and lines of text displayed detailed regulations. If implemented, these would prevent humans from settling in new systems without explicit council approval and require multiple inspections of each human colony. Many delegates nodded, quietly supporting the plan. They believed humanity would be forced to accept as they had assumed all along. They had not yet noticed the hidden human fleet, drifting silently in shadow, ready to act only if needed. Elian rose slowly. His movement was calm, deliberate. I appreciate the concerns, he said, voice soft but clear. Humanity understands caution. We grew quickly, yes. But we do not take what is not offered. We do not conquer. We do not threaten, the Trisk ambassador hissed, annoyed. Words alone do not prevent imbalance. Humans must accept our terms. Elian shook his head politely. We cannot accept terms that harm fair trade or limit peaceful cooperation. But we can offer something better. Partnership. Shared development. Joint trade routes. Mutual research. Some delegates leaned forward, curious. Shared development had been discussed before, but now humans were actively proposing a clear plan with practical solutions. He projected a holographic map. Stars blinked softly, and colored routes traced paths between human and alien colonies. He highlighted key points: transport efficiency, joint resource management, and shared research stations. If we work together, Elian continued, every species benefits. We learn from each other. We grow together. No one loses, no one is blocked. And we gain security, knowledge, and prosperity for all. A murmur spread across the room. Even some of the most suspicious delegates could not ignore the logic. An avian representative spoke hesitantly. But how can we trust humans not to take advantage? Elian smiled gently. Trust is built through action, not words. Observe our past cooperation. Review our shared projects. Judge not by growth speed, but by fairness. The Trisk ambassador growled softly, displeased by the calm logic. But even he paused, realizing the room was shifting. The previous plan to corner humanity now looked risky. Leader Vorakel raised a hand. We will consider Ambassador Ward's proposal carefully. Elian returned to his seat. He did not raise his voice, did not show frustration. He simply waited. Outside, the hidden human fleet mirrored the calm. Ships remained cloaked, engines silent, weapons powered down. They were a quiet reminder. Humanity was never alone, even in negotiations. A young Kelran delegate approached Vorakel quietly. Leader, perhaps these humans can guide our younger colonies, she suggested. Their cooperation model is impressive. Vorakel nodded slowly. Possibly. But we must ensure no species feels pressured. Inside the chamber, whispers shifted again. Some older delegates, realizing humans were not easily cornered, began to speak cautiously. They realized that aggression or pressure would only create conflict. Elian noticed the change immediately. He leaned slightly forward. Collaboration works better than coercion, he said. We hope the Council chooses progress over fear, partnership over division. At that moment, one of the secretive delegates whispered into a small device. The words were coded, intended for off-station allies. Elian's discreet sensors picked up the signal. A gentle alert blinked on his tablet. Secret communication detected. He kept calm. Observe, he whispered into his ear device. No interference. Let them reveal themselves. Hours passed. Arguments continued, but tone had softened. Some delegates actively supported shared development. They spoke about mutual growth, peaceful expansion, and trade benefits. Even those who initially opposed humans spoke carefully, mindful of hidden fleets. Finally, Leader Vorakel called for a vote. The chamber quieted, and lights above reflected every choice. The results appeared on a large display. Shared development and cooperation, 68%. Restricted human growth and higher taxes, 32% A. Wave of quiet amazement passed through the room. Humanity had not used force, had not threatened anyone, yet it had achieved a clear majority in its favor. Elian rose to speak once more. Thank you. This vote proves something simple. Cooperation is stronger than fear. Peace is stronger than threats. Humanity will continue to work with all species for mutual benefit. Several delegates nodded and approached him after the session. Some offered words of support. Others asked to learn more about human trade methods and colony management. Even the Trisk ambassador, though his expression remained stoic, took notes carefully. Outside, the hidden fleet silently retracted slightly, remaining ready but invisible. Elian smiled softly. Their presence had shifted Council thinking without a single shot fired. Later, in a private corridor, Commander Mira from Council Security met him again. Ambassador Ward, she said, I watched the vote. Some species fear humans. Others respect you now. You have changed the dynamic of this council. Elian bowed lightly. Thank you, Commander. We only wish to cooperate, but we remain cautious. Not for threats, but for fairness. Mira studied him thoughtfully. A wise approach. Many species would have reacted with force or loud demands. Calm words and careful actions create better outcomes, Elian said softly. But sometimes calm must be backed by readiness, Mira nodded. I see your point. Meanwhile, the secret group of alien leaders huddled in their shadowed chamber. Their plans to restrict humans had failed. They looked uneasy, whispering among themselves. We underestimated them, one admitted. They spoke softly, another said. But the calm hides strength. Yes, a third whispered. We must be careful. Humans are patient but not naive. Elian, back in his quarters, reviewed the Council's final draft agreements. Everything had been amended to ensure fair access, cooperation, and shared growth. He tapped his wrist device. All ships, he said quietly, maintain position. Stand down. Thank you for your patience. The human fleet remained invisible, engines silent, a quiet guardian over the Council's decisions. Elian looked out at the stars. He thought about humanity's journey, from war and mistakes to learning, growing, and now standing at the heart of a galactic council. They invited us to negotiate, he whispered, but they forgot to check the skies. The phrase echoed softly in his mind. The hidden fleet was a silent reminder of preparation. Humans sought peace, but they understood power, vigilance, and responsibility. Outside, the galaxy continued to shine, vast, endless, full of possibility. Tomorrow would bring new opportunities, new alliances, and perhaps new challenges. But today, humanity had turned the tables not through fear, but through calm strategy, logic, and careful preparation. Even some of the older, suspicious delegates now began considering trade and research partnerships with human colonies. The atmosphere in the council hall had shifted from tension to cautious optimism. Elian closed his tablet and leaned back, allowing himself a rare moment of satisfaction. He thought of Earth, of its people, and of the many lessons humanity had learned. Patience, cooperation, and vigilance had proven stronger than aggression or fear. The stars twinkled softly outside the council station. Human ships drifted silently among them, watchful, calm, and ready if ever needed. And somewhere deep inside the council, whispered thoughts traveled among the delegates. Humanity is not loud. Humanity is patient, and humanity is stronger than we imagined. The Galactic Council station shimmered with soft light as the final day of the summit began. Artificial sunlight spread across the circular hall, casting reflections on the polished floors. Diplomats moved quietly to their seats, some chatting politely, others whispering nervously. Yesterday's vote had changed much. The majority supported humanity's proposals for shared development, yet a few delegates remained uneasy, suspicious, and cautious. Ambassador Elian Ward entered the hall as usual, calm and confident. His soft footsteps echoed slightly as he approached his seat. Several delegates looked at him differently now, no longer with mockery or dismissive curiosity, but with a mixture of respect and caution. A few younger diplomats even smiled, clearly inspired by humanity's approach. Leader Vorakel raised her long purple hand. Today we finalize agreements. Let all discussions be fair and guided by reason. Elian prepared his tablet, ready to respond to remaining concerns. He knew that even though the majority had supported shared development, some delegates would attempt last-minute maneuvers. Patience would again be key. A voice rose from the shadowed corner where the few remaining skeptics whispered. It was the Trisk ambassador speaking sharply. We still question human intent. Growth is fast. Resources are limited. We propose adding additional checkpoints and review boards to monitor humanity's colonies. Elian rose, expression calm, voice gentle but firm. Checks and balances are understandable. Oversight is reasonable, but fear-driven restrictions serve no one. Shared observation with multiple species works better than secret checkpoints. Cooperation builds trust. Rules built from fear build conflict, the room murmured. Many delegates nodded slightly, considering the point. Even the skeptical ones paused, realizing the logic in Elian's words. Leader Vorakel tilted her head thoughtfully. Ambassador Ward, you have demonstrated both patience and wisdom. How do you propose we finalize the agreement? Elian projected a final holographic map. Trade routes glowed softly, connecting multiple systems. Colonies and stations were marked with symbols showing shared research and cooperative ventures. We propose a unified agreement. Shared growth, transparent trade, joint research stations. All species may participate. All benefits are mutual, he paused. This agreement will replace previous secret clauses and restrictions. No species is forced to limit themselves, and no species is left unprotected. Humanity wishes for partnership, not control. A younger Kelran delegate whispered to her neighbor, "This is fair. This is reason." Even some of the skeptical ambassadors could not speak against such clarity. Their attempts at last-minute pressure began to fade, replaced by quiet discussion among themselves. Vorakel nodded. Very well. We will hold the final vote. Let all delegates record their choice, the chamber quieted. Holographic voting panels appeared at each seat, glowing softly. Lights above flickered, reflecting the choices of each delegate. The results flashed on the large central screen. Unified Cooperation Agreement. 72% additional restrictions. 28% A. Ripple of quiet surprise and relief passed through the chamber. Humanity had not fired a shot, had not threatened a single delegate, yet achieved a clear and decisive victory in fairness and cooperation. Elian rose once more. Thank you. This decision proves something simple. Peace, patience, and reason can achieve what threats cannot. Humanity is honored to work with the Council and with all species as partners. Several delegates rose to approach him afterward. They spoke softly, offering congratulations, support, and questions about future joint projects. Some wanted to share technology. Others wished to send representatives to human research stations. Respect, not fear, now filled the council chamber. Outside, the hidden human fleet drifted silently in shadow, engines quiet, cloaked from sensors. They remained visible only to Elian and his closest commanders. Even without visible action, the fleet's calm presence had already influenced the council's thinking. Later, in a private hallway, Commander Mira of Council Security approached Elian. Ambassador Ward, she said softly, I watched the final vote. Some delegates still fear humans, yes, but most now respect your judgment and strategy. You have changed the tone of this council. Elian bowed slightly. We only wish to cooperate. Peace must always be our goal, but patience and readiness make cooperation possible. Mira nodded, impressed. Few species combine diplomacy with careful preparation so quietly. Your calm has created results stronger than any threat could have. Elian smiled faintly. Strength is not always loud. Sometimes strength is steady, patient, and guided by reason. Meanwhile, the few remaining skeptics from the secretive group gathered in a corner. They muttered among themselves. Their plans to corner humanity clearly failed. We underestimated them, one admitted. They speak softly, another said, but every word carries weight. Their patience. It is as strong as steel. Yes, a third whispered. We must reconsider how we act. Humans are not easily manipulated, and they are always prepared. Elian, back in his quarters, reflected on the summit's events. The galaxy outside shimmered with stars, seemingly endless and full of possibilities. His tablet displayed the final draft agreements, all amended to ensure fairness, cooperation, and transparency. He tapped the wrist device. All ships maintained passive positions. No action needed. From distant shadows, the fleet complied silently. Their presence was a quiet assurance. Humanity would act only when necessary, but they were always ready to protect what mattered. Elian walked to the window and gazed at distant nebulae. He thought about humanity's journey, a species that had once fought and failed, a species that had learned patience, cooperation, and careful planning. They invited us to negotiate, he whispered softly, but they forgot to check the skies. A small smile crossed his face. The quiet fleet above was a reminder that humanity valued peace, but peace supported by vigilance could never be underestimated. The young alien assistant from earlier days appeared at the balcony door. Ambassador Ward, she said softly, you're calm. It taught many of us a lesson. Not all strength is shown in force. Some strength is shown in patience and wisdom. Elian nodded. Exactly. Calm words and careful observation can achieve what threats never could. The assistant looked toward the distant shadows of human ships. They watched silently, and that alone changed everything. Yes, Elian said. Sometimes being present is enough. Force is not always needed to earn respect. Later, as the summit officially closed, delegates gathered for final farewells. Several shook Elian's hand. Some placed small tokens of goodwill on his table, and many promised future collaboration. Even the Trisk ambassador, though still cautious, gave a small nod. He did not speak, but the gesture carried quiet respect. Leader Vorakel addressed the chamber one last time. Ambassador Ward and humanity have taught us an important lesson. Cooperation backed by honesty and preparation is stronger than coercion. The Council will remember this for generations. Elian smiled softly. Thank you, Leader Vorakel. Humanity seeks only partnership, friendship, and shared progress. Outside, human ships slowly began to drift back toward Earth's hidden sectors. No announcements, no fanfare, only calm, measured movement. The galaxy would notice their impact, even if the fleet remained unseen. In his room, Elian placed a small Earth flag on the window ledge. He thought of home, oceans, mountains, and people dreaming of the stars. He thought of the lessons humanity had learned through history: patience, preparation, and cooperation. They invited us to negotiate, he repeated to himself quietly. But we showed them. Respect is stronger than fear. Peace, guided by careful strength, wins the day. Deep in the council corridors, whispers spread among delegates. Humans are patient. Humans are clever. And humans are not to be underestimated. Even the skeptics acknowledged it silently. The galaxy had learned a truth. Humanity combined wisdom, strategy, and strength in a way that no one had fully anticipated. Elian looked one last time out into the stars. Countless systems stretched across the galaxy, full of life, full of possibility. Humanity had taken its first step among equals in the Council, and they had done so without raising a weapon. The galaxy now remembered a simple lesson. Peace with humans is easy. Threatening humans is impossible. And somewhere in a quiet corner, an alien delegate whispered to another almost regretfully, "Next time we invite humans, check the skies first." The stars outside the council station twinkled silently. Far above, hidden among shadows, the human fleet drifted calmly, watchful, and ready to protect what mattered most. Humanity had spoken softly, acted with patience, and reminded the galaxy why they were a species to respect. And so the summit ended. Lessons were learned, alliances formed, and humanity's place among the stars had grown stronger than ever.